Makayla, thank you so much for taking time to sit with me today, talk about you, career advice you have for our students. People listening to this are all students interested, figuring out what they want to do career-wise, what their passions are. So to begin with, I want to set you up. Give us your elevator pitch. What's your title? What do you do for a living? Kind of your quick elevator pitch.
Sure. So my name is Makayla Buckley, and I work as both a social media manager and a digital marketing specialist for an ad agency in Quincy, Illinois by the name of Rethink Media Group. So I've been in this position since August of 2020. And that entire time, I have been their social media manager. So I manage anywhere between 14 to 24 clients at a time. And I do everything that you can imagine a social media manager does, whether it's creating the content, posting, or making the schedules, scheduling out their content, managing the pages, all of that I do. And then in January of this year, we were looking to expand our digital site. So we have our social side and our digital side. And the digital is that more robust advertising where it's the hyper targeting. You're using pay-per-click, OTT, all of those like buzzwords people know. And we were going to expand that. So I went to my bosses and I said, I want to try my hand at that. I want to learn something new. I've been doing social media for so long. Let me learn digital. And so I've been in that role since January, assisting our digital marketing manager. And so in that role, I just help with, setting up campaigns. I go on client pitches. I do the reports, different things like that. So really, I am managing two roles at the time.
Oh, I can only imagine all the balls that are in the air at one given time. What is something that most people don't know about the work that you do? We just depending on when students watch this, we just came off Thanksgiving, so I'm sure you had conversations. Oh, do you just make TikToks all day on social media, or do you own Google on digital? What do people not know about your work?
Yeah, I think bringing up the TikTok thing is really funny. So we have a TikTok for Rethink, and like my little cousins get so excited. They told me at Thanksgiving, they're like, "I just saw you on TikTok," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's not me. I mean, it is, but it's not my personal brand." And so they think it's so cool and so fun that I get to do that. Um, but I think what most people know but don't quite understand about what I do is that it never shuts off. Social media never takes a break. And so I kind of learned that the hard way. The first time I tried to take a day off here, I was being bombarded with phone calls and texts and emails. And do my bosses expect me to work when I'm not in the office? No. But social media doesn't take a break, so I don't take a break. So I feel like people know social media is constant, but they don't quite understand what that means for someone who works in it.
No, that makes complete sense. Once you see behind the scenes, it opens a whole new a
Yeah.
whole new avenue for sure. What's one story you could share that in your time right with the agency that you felt most proud of your
Mhm.
work?
Yeah. So we, everything, are an all female owned and operated business. And so two women decided to open up Rethink about 13 years ago. And through that, they've really managed to kind of be the top agency in town. And so that's something that we take pride in. But because of that, we also lean into that female side of things. And so in October of 2022, I went to them and I said, we lean into our female side. Let's let other people lean into theirs. And so I pitched this idea of a blog called The Future is Female, and it has just taken off. We did our first one in March of 2023 because it was Women's History Month, and so it's like the perfect tie-in to do that. And it has just grown so much since then. We are launching a podcast for it in March, which is really cool on the 1 year anniversary. But it's just giving these women who do so much in our community, whether it's an entrepreneur, a CEO, a stay-at-home mom, all these women who are doing really cool things, it's given them that platform to talk about. And I always say it's the biggest blessing of my career because I get to talk to women from all walks of life, but they feel so honored to talk to me. Every time that I sit down with them, without fail, they always say, I don't know why you asked me. I don't think I fit in this box. You do, and you deserve to be here. And so I love being able to give them that platform. And I just feel proud that I really do feel like people are looking forward to it every month and that it's grown from this small idea into this big thing. And so it's just something that I take immense pride in.
Makayla, I'm telling you, in your second career, when you get past this, I think public speaking or keynoting is your future. I think you just motivated me through that.
Oh,
That's fantastic. That's awesome. That's so cool to hear. And I can imagine there's going to be quite a few students like listen here that are motivated just from hearing
Yeah.
your passion and your expertise, your background and where you came from and kind of that connection you're having with folks.
Mhm.
What advice? So if you're thinking about those, just picture one student watching this and they're like, get really excited. They just heard from you. They're like, I want to be Makayla, right, in 2 years or whatnot. And they're driven, they're smart, they're hungry, right? What piece of advice would you give that one student who wants to get into your work, who wants to be the Makayla 2 years from now? What advice would you give to that one student?
Yeah. I think trust your instincts. I think that's the best piece of advice I can give anyone. I think we are naturally curious people, and that's what helps us in our creative side of things. And so I'm constantly curious about, will this trend work for this person? Can I do this? How will that work if I do X, Y, and Z? That's always how my brain's worked. And so because of that, I've really had to lean into it and trust that what my gut is telling me is true. So I have to lean into that instinct and trust it. And I think that when you're looking at your life as a student, going into a career path, whatever that is, trust your instincts in the job interviews. If that doesn't feel right, if that company doesn't feel right, get out of there. It's probably not going to be right. I held out. I mean, yes, I was in COVID when I graduated, but I held out for what felt right. Even though I had job offers coming in. And because of that, I get to come into this position and I get to trust those instincts every single day. And will this work? Can I do that? Is that a great idea? So I think, yeah, the biggest piece of advice I can give you is trust those instincts, because no one knows you better than you. And so lean into that.
That's a great piece of advice, Makayla. That's awesome. And one brownie point too, I love that you brought up curiosity, right? That's what I talk about this all the time about the importance of curiosity and thinking about you don't have to be absolutely in love with a direction, just go in a direction, right? Have that curiosity. Who knows, right? If blogging was going to be something that you connected with, but it became something, right? You got real passionate about. So I think that curiosity is amazing. Is there a story or an example of how curiosity unlocked something for you, whether it be the blog or something else? Where is curiosity specifically? You say, my curiosity led me in that direction. And
Sure.
your point. Mhm.
I think I didn't really understand my curiosity until I saw your keynote at that July conference in Maryville. And I'm not just saying that, I genuinely do. That helped me really realize I've been a naturally curious person my entire life and what that means and how that's led me. And so when I'm in a meeting with a new client and they're telling me, this is my business, this is what I want, my brain goes into overdrive. What can I do for you? How can I make it different? How can I make you stand out? Because a lot of the clients that come to us in this market are small. So they've never done advertising on social media. They have a presence, but not really. And so it's, how can I take your tiny little thing and make it big? And so my brain's always worked like that, whether it was in my personal life and we were talking about, we have a birthday party. Well, my brain's immediately going, how do we make that the best birthday party ever? So I just feel like I've always been super curious, and it shows up every single day in my job. I don't think I can give you one specific example. I can just tell you that when I'm working on things, I have to, I'm going to create January calendars today for my clients. I'm going to be curious the entire time about what's new, what's upcoming, what can I do to help set them apart.
I love that, man. Makayla, if I'm going to bet on somebody, I'm betting on you. That's awesome. That's so cool to hear. So cool to hear. Well, Makayla, I got one more question for you, but before we jump up, I want to thank you so much for your time. I know students are going to get a lot from this interview. I also want to put you on the spot and say, students who are listening to this, follow Makayla on LinkedIn, connect with her. She's an absolute rock star. Also read the blog. I'll put the link in this video so you could go check out the blog. And I hear there may be surprises coming in the future, so keep an eye out for that from Makayla here in the next couple of months for sure. So Makayla, so thank you so much for your time. But here's the big question, okay? If you had time travel, right? You time traveled back to your college days, right? Back to your college days as a student, any year, whether it be freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, whatever year. What what's one thing you wish you would have known, right? Back then, whether that be something academic wise or social wise, smell the roses wise, whatever it may be, right? If you could just know one thing back your college years, what would you tell your past self or know in your past life?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. It has really helped me kind of think about hindsight being 2020 and how funny I was in college, because I remember thinking, once I get into my career, I'm not going to think about my job afterwards, right? I'm going to clock in at 8, clock out at 5, and that's the only time I'm going to think about my career. Because in college, I would work 2 weeks ahead at all times because I just wanted to be on top of things. It's just who I am. I'm type A. So I was always working and thinking, what project's next? What's that grade? What's going on? And so I vividly remember thinking and saying in college, when I join the workforce, I'm not going to have that anymore. It's going to be, the job is there during your work hours and that is it. That's not it. So yeah, hindsight's definitely 2020. And if I could go back and tell her, soak in your college time, don't worry about all of this, I would absolutely give myself that opportunity, because I was just so high strung during those days and so confident that that would end at some point in time. It doesn't. So just kind of enjoy your time while you're there, because life's about to hit you and it's about to hit you fast.
So, Makayla, as my freshman self, what I'm hearing you say is go out on Thursdays.
Go out on Thursday.
Yeah, I love it, Makayla. Thank you so much for your time and your great stories here.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And if anyone ever wants to talk about their job or whatever, please reach out to me. I am happy to talk you through your future.